Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Wrestling Wrealm Presents Championship Culture. I'm Brandon, the guy, and this is where every belt has a story. Now, if this is your first time joining us, don't forget, you can always check out the Wrestling Wrealm on all social media platforms. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook with the handle of Wrestling Wrealm. If you want to enjoy our content, please feel free to join us every Wednesday night for our flagship show, the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast. You can always check out what myself, Brian H. Waters, the real Dwayne Allen, or Hash the Third are doing at any time with our individual hashtags. Tonight.
No.
But tonight, I got a special guest. The man, the myth, the legend, Brian H. Waters will be joining us tonight so we can have this debate on which one is better, the Wing Eagle versus the Big Eagle. So let's give us a round of applause and shout out for Brian H. Waters.
What up? How are you?
There he is. That's that guy. There's that guy right there.
No, well, you the guy. So I'm just in the building.
You're just my guy. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. And, man, this is going to be interesting. So, Brian H. Waters.
Yes, sir.
I think we need to dive right in because, what I really want to understand is why people always put the Wing Eagle versus the Big Eagle and why the Big Eagle is always the best one. That's what I'm really going to try to narrow down today. But, let's get right to it. So I know you are a Wing Eagle fan. And I'm a Big Eagle fan. So this conversation is going to be kind of interesting. So first, I want to know, what does Brian H. Waters like about the Wing Eagle?
Well, the guy, when you take a look at the Winged Eagle, this gorgeous belt right here, Alexa Bliss had it right, holding the title like this. And I'm moving around because of my ring light. So I'm just trying to make sure it's hitting. But this right here is the pinnacle. For many of us, it's our childhood. You know what I mean? Like for those who started watching wrestling in the 90s or the early 90s, late 80s, this right here, this was the belt that Bret the Hitman Hart had. For me, it was the first belt. The first person I seen with it was Hulk Hogan. So I know that you have your opinions on it, but for me, it brings me back to my childhood. I remember when Diesel said on a promo when he was the Intercontinental Champion going into King of the Ring 1994. He said, that Intercontinental belt is nice, but I want the world title. And right here, says it right there, the world title. So it's just such a gorgeous belt. It's a lot of nostalgia. For the many of us, it was the Intercontinental Championship also. Like, granted, we didn't have many options. Let's call it for what it is, right? In the 90s, we had 3 belts that we paid attention to: the WWF title, the WWF Intercontinental title, and the WWF Tag Team titles. And to me, they all look good. And that's the reason why, such a gorgeous belt. Look at it.
All right, so as we start this,
I'm saying it as if you don't have like 6 of them.
Oh no, I'm gonna show you the white one. So as we start this debate, right? So I have a black one and 2 white ones. And I'm gonna be honest. Let me share this story. The only reason I own a winged eagle is because I'm a belt collector, and I felt like I have to have this in my collection. Okay,
that's disrespectful. Come
and
on now to say it. That's the only reason.
That's one of probably 3 reasons. But I'm gonna tell you something. And now you pointed it out, right? So on this belt, let me make sure I'm not getting the glare. You pointed out it says World, right?
Yeah.
But on the more superior belt and all the belts that came prior after it, and even before, right? You don't need to put World or anything when you clearly have a distinction that it is the world champion because it's front and center. So now I'm gonna debunk your first thought that you said. It said World on it, right? Secondly, you stated that it was gorgeous, right?
Just give me a reason to bring out the belt.
Light hit it at certain times, correct? Because depending on how the light hit it, it does catch your eye, right?
It do.
It catches your eye, but remember, different versions of this was a different color, and even this was a different color. Because fact check me if I'm wrong. It was in 19. I'm sorry, I wrote down some notes, but I know that you
go ahead, just spill it out. Shout out to Wutaj84 in the comments. Been thinking about the blue winged eagle. It's one of 3 belts I'm interested in, with the 91 to 94 WCW title and the NXT North American title.
So before I get into the facts, that North American title, if you're thinking about getting it, get it. Beautiful belt. It will not disappoint. Pull the trigger.
Ooh, Man Cave Sports says Big Eagle is best of belts of all time. Ooh.
Thank you. See, he gets it. He gets it. He gets it. He gets it. So now I'm gonna say this again. If you're thinking about those 3 belts and the North American is one of them, get it, because I would hate if NXT changed it or something. It's a nice belt, a different strap. Everything about it is just beautiful from start to finish, even as a belt tip. I mean, I can do a whole show about that, but we talking about these Wing Eagle and Big Eagle. So
it was about it's a WrestleMania 3, so 87 to 98, so 11 years for the Wing Eagle. Real quick, off the top of your head, how many belts you got as of May 2nd at 8:15 p.m.? How many belts do you have?
Are we counting the ones that have duplicates as a different belt?
It don't matter. How many belts, when you count, if they was to do an inventory, how many physical belts do you have? Not how many titles. It's a difference. How many belts that you can physically put around your waist?
139.
139? Did you just say, look, so funny story. I remember I asked Brandon, like, it feels like 2 years ago around this time. No, it feels like a year ago around this time, or maybe 2. How many belts are you? It's like 50 something. I'm like, how the heck you got 50 something belts? And sure enough, by the time I got there, which was a couple weeks later, he had 75. Brother Hugh had estimated, it said, I believe, 100 over 130. The realness says, answer the question. He said, say it louder with your chest, Brandon. Say it louder with your chest.
I have 139 belts in my possession.
139 belts in his possession. And that's not even counting how many he gave me. And he didn't give away. Not so give away. This is why he's the guy. This is why he is.
Now notice I say in my possession, 1 belt is on loaner, so I actually have 140 because 1 is on a loaner right now, and it's a loaner to a good brother that I know it's in safekeeping. So I have 139 in my possession.
Because we can already count the new world title. It might not be there yet, but we know it's coming. It's coming.
I'm going to get it.
And shout out to Man Cave Sports. Says he has 23.
Put it in the comments. Which one is your favorite? I'm always curious about which everybody's
favorite. Right. I always love to ask that.
I always like to hear what's your favorite one. But if that
I know we got off track, but this is what happens.
But it's okay. This is good stuff. I love it.
You wanted to go live. The people wanted to hear, so they had live questions.
So trust me, pull that trigger on the North American and then go with the Big Eagle and then move
Hogan
on.
Belt. It's the Hogan belt right here.
Yes, that's what I was getting to. When Hogan debuted it, he became the first person to hold it, but he only held it for a short amount of time, correct?
After he body slammed Andre, he had it a year.
Yeah, so it was
right before WrestleMania 4.
But remember, Hogan was debuting a lot of belts, but this one was special because it was a whole different design. And I'm not taking away, it was special. It was like the first time that the eagle was prominent. You could tell the eagle was there, wrestlers on the side, everything about it had branding that even from the tip of the belt all the way on the side plates, it all had WWF. Even though this portion, the property plate changed, sometimes it had the wrestler's name, you could tell it was a WWE championship belt. So I'm not taking it away from
special.
Yeah, it was definitely the first time that you had. Okay, who signed that? Go ahead, let the people know. Let the people
Bret
know.
Hart.
Okay,
Hitman. It's really the Bret Hart belt. Like I make the joke about Hogan. Hogan debuted it, we know, but I don't think you really outside of that you got to associate the '86 because he literally was the only person to have that title.
Yep.
But yeah, this is obviously just because of what he did. This is definitely the Bret Hart belt.
And this was one of the first times that a championship belt, while it was in rotation, it really.
This is why he's the guy. This is why he's the guy. That's the programming manager talking to Big Eagle on The Rock's birthday. That's why he's the guy.
Oh, yep.
Man Cave Sports answered your question though. Sorry.
Okay, good. No, I was reading the comment too. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad there's some other belt fans out there. But here's the kicker. And this was the first time a world title was changing strap colors. Remember? We went through different straps on a world title, which was kind of unheard of at that point because prior to this, we had the green strap on the belt for the big green. I can't think of who that belt is considered, but then it was like the original WWF had a blue strap, but it was like blue velvet. So now we had a championship belt that came. Wrestlers changed it. It went from white to blue, the purple lavender when Warrior had it, and then when Stone Cold won it that time, that's when we changed to the Big Eagle, which I think was a warrant change. But I think they were playing around with strap colors because that was during the time the Intercontinental title was on a purple strap, and that lasted a short amount of time. Then it became black. But remember, when Stone Cold held the Big Eagle, he was one of the first people to do a Signature Series belt. But while we're talking about that, let me ask you this question, Brian. Now, I heard why you like the Wing Eagle. Now, in your unbiased opinion, if you did not grow up with that belt being your belt, as in you saw it with your champion, whether it's the Bret Hart, the Shawn Michaels, the Ultimate Warrior, whoever held that belt, if you didn't grow up watching that era, if you didn't grow up watching that era of wrestling, and let's just say look at it from a different perspective, would you still consider that the definitive championship?
As far as what the WWE championship?
Yes, but WWE. So let me rephrase my question. If you did not grow up with that belt being your focal point of your start of your wrestling career, right? Or your wrestling love, would you still consider that your definitive, this is my favorite title in WWF, WWE?
That's a good question. Because the big goal. Yeah, I see what you did there, right? The big goal screams champion. It's big. You feel me? But I mean, it's hard to take out my bias, right? I'm always going to be biased towards everything WWF. Let's just call it for what it is. I'm biased towards the Reggie Parks Intercontinental Championship that the real Dwayne Allen just said classic Intercontinental Championship before Oval title. 1,000,000%. I'm always going to be biased over that towards the U.S. title, which I love the U.S. title. I'm always going to be biased between the European title over the television title. I don't remember much what the WCW tag team titles look like. Like their memories don't stand out where the WWF tag titles stand out. You feel me? So I probably still would be.
Okay, that's fair. So let me ask you this question. In the comparison between the two, you gave us the why you like the Wing Eagle. Now tell me what you like about the
I never said which one I like more.
No, I said why you like it. Now I'm asking why do you like the Big Eagle?
Well, this right here screams Attitude Era, right? Everything about it, between the Eagle being on steroids, let's call for what it is, right? It's just very, when you look at the two Eagles, like this one looks peaceful. Where this one just looks like it's ready to do some damage, right? It's bigger. The globe is bigger, which I know is big, which but yeah, the globes is bigger. Even the plates, right? So it screams attitude era. Even the logo, obviously, the scratch logo. Like, do not ever, ever, ever put a scratch logo on the Winged Eagle. I saw it on like the Cody belts. Ugh. You know, but like right there, it just screams attitude era. Everything in the 90s, it was bigger, it was extravagant. So that's why it's always been harder for me to choose. I'm gonna break the fourth wall right here. There's the real Dwayne Allen's in there in the comments. Night before graduation, you know, it's always a story. Night before graduation, we outside. It's like, bro, we got to wear the belts. We got to wear the belts to school. I said, all right, which one you want to rock? He said, bro, which one you want to rock? I said, I don't care. So also he chose the Big Eagle. But for me, like it could have went either way. You feel me? The thing is, like, the reason why I love the reason why I love the Big Eagle is because, like I said, just looking at how big Champion is, the globe. I'm always going to associate this. The Rock made me love it. Heel Rock, Royal Rumble, 1999. Him standing like this over Mick Foley in the aisleway. That is an image that lasts in my head. As those Russell girls say, here goes a BHW story. But him standing like that, and if you remember, go back to the 99 Royal Rumble, you see the way the light shine, right? After he had just beat Mick Foley. Now, I know a lot of people still can't watch that match. But right there, it was like, man. And then you remember, this was the belt that was in Kmart for kids.
Yep.
They had a blue one.
Yep.
And so that was my first toy foam belt, was the Big Eagle. Okay. So I had that belt. I think you've seen it, the one that my uncle gave me. I know it's in the Wrealm seen it, and I know Brother Hugh seen it. But yeah, I had that belt, but that was like my first WWE, and to the point the paint came off.
That was that one. It saw some things. It been through some things.
Yeah. But if they was to bring a belt back, personally, I think I would rather have this one back over the Winged Eagle. I love both belts. Don't get me wrong. But like
there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. He loves the Big Eagle more than he does the Winged Eagle.
No,
you heard it first on Championship Culture.
I just don't think the Winged Eagle. I just don't. Some things you gotta keep in its era. You know what I mean? We've evolved everything. You know, things have gotten more dynamic, bigger. I mean, just look, right? Look how this stands up next to the Undisputed Championship. Your favorite title, which I hope people seen episode number 1. Good job, by the way. Good job. I really enjoyed it. I watched it twice.
Thank you. And you like that reference, because I definitely called you. You couldn't believe that belt, could you?
Right. And you know what? I gotta ask you this. Sorry to go off topic. It's your show, so you could bring it back. Why isn't anybody talking about the new world title having a little bit of the Undisputed title in it? Because I feel like the way it's shaped,
thank you,
it has a little bit of that. Like, everybody keeps saying Big Gold and Network title had a baby.
But it's not the Network. That's the thing. It's more right. Like Spinner, Undisputed, and Big Gold all merged together. Mm-hmm. Like, if you really look at it, it's got so many elements from those three. Everybody keeps saying that. No, it's so even if. All right, so you're right. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead, because you.
No, go ahead, because you cooking. I threw. Look, this is what we've been doing since 2001. I threw the alley oop. Y'all ain't know Brother Brandon played basketball one time in school. Woo!
So I'm trying to get
folks, he got the.
So no, you got it. Plates. See the side plates, right? On the Big Eagle, the McMahon crest. A lion is part of the McMahon crest, right?
Talk about that, because a lot of people, I didn't know about that until you said something. And this is why I was so excited about this show, because of the education piece. Talk about the McMahon crest.
So when you look at and I'm gonna grab the other belt in 1 second, but on the
and I'll show
first version, yeah. So see how on Brian's, yours has the crest has a little bit more defined within the shield, but one of the main aspects is the lion holding a shield. So on the scratch logo versus the block logo, you'll see that it went from just a WWE to actually it was supposed to have some words on there and the actual red ribbon around it. So what Triple H did, and while I'm saying it's a tribute, he took that element that was missing from the network logo, the actual logo belts, and he put it back traditionally. If you look at the Undisputed, Brian, grab your Undisputed for me real quick.
All right, let's see if we can not make a mess.
If not, I can grab mine.
I got it.
Okay. So if you look at your Undisputed, what's on your side plates? Just show the people what's on the side plate, so that way you can actually see.
So what I like about this one, because there's multiple side plates.
So see how the man crest has evolved again, and how it has a little outline on it. So what did he do? He took the most recognizable thing, being a lion, because if you think about the McMahon family, they were always like the kings of the jungle. They took over the territories. They added all that flavor. Vince McMahon took what his father had and made it. I'm the biggest player in the game. I'm the one that you come see. I'm the king of the jungle, pretty much. So on that new belt, it has elements from the Undisputed, the Spinner, and the Big Eagle. It really doesn't have many elements besides a side plate being the removable as it has on the network logos.
All right, so what's from the Spinner? Because I can grab it.
So look at the Eagle on the top. He took an element from the Eagle from the top of the placement of the Eagle and how the gems are. If you look at look how those gems are on the sides. He almost strategically placed them on the new world title, almost the same way the stones are around the edge, and the placement of the Eagle. Like everything about that, it's elements from it. Who else has an eagle on the top? That one, and the Undisputed has the eagle on the very top. Yes, the eagle wings are kind of spread down on that one, but if you look at the new one, it has the eagle and just gems on the sides. What other belt has gems on the side? The Undisputed only had like 5 gems on it. So, come on now, let's call it what it is, right? So the network logo, he took the side plates being removable from it, and then even with the lion face at the bottom, he added another element. It's a lion face at the bottom of the belt. But that's why I think it's a tribute belt. It's definitely a tribute to past championships, and dare I say it, it's almost a tribute to the past championships that Triple H has held. Because you can't have a conversation about a Big Eagle, a Big Gold, or even an Undisputed without having that conversation about Triple H.
That's facts.
So,
now, Man Cave Sports says Undisputed Championship belt looks like a pirate ship flag.
Really? I never thought about that.
Yeah, Dwayne says the Undisputed title grew on him over time, but it was long after it was gone. I feel like that's a title that a lot of people liked more once it was gone. And the thing, it was only around 4 years.
But remember, it has so many variations of it too, because we had all those different variations. Especially, you went from a colorful globe, colorful, or even on the black one, we had the blue. We got the red for the scratch logo. It had some color to it to have it no color. It was just gold and black. So it didn't really.
That's also the only one that's only stayed on. Once it was on SmackDown, that was it. It never went back to Raw.
And think about it. It only stayed until John Cena, we can monopolize off of this. And I don't think it gave it a fair chance because the different variations. When Undertaker held it, it looked kind of small. But when Brock held it, it looked huge. And it was so many different.
Let me ask you this. When who was the first person? Was it Edge? Edge was the first person to beat John Cena.
Was he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, because John Cena had the title for a long time. Yes. Was you hoping deep down inside Edge would have brought back the Undisputed title at the time, or you don't remember?
So I was hoping, because if you remember what happened with the U.S. belt, when he lost it to Orlando Jordan, he reverted it back to the regular United States belt. So in my mind, I was like, hey, is Edge going to bring back that title, or is it going to be a different variation again? And then once Edge didn't, I was like, ugh. And then he slapped the radar on it later on. I was like, yep, we're stuck with this. Because that was such a belt. Like, for instance, when Stone Cold had the Smoking Skull, if anybody would have wanted it from him, it wouldn't fit them. So I felt the same way with the U.S. spinner and the WWE spinner. I just didn't feel like it fit any other wrestler. and then it just kind of grew on you. It's like, yep, this is what we're stuck with, and especially the different iterations where it said Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. If you have one that say SmackDown, that's a rare belt. You better keep it just like that. Don't sell it. Don't do nothing to it, because if the side plate say SmackDown, you got one of the rare ones. But
right.
I
gotta ask you this. Oh, go ahead.
I was hoping it would have changed, but then it kind of just grew on you. Like, oh, we're stuck with
it. What's your beef with the Winged Eagle?
Okay, so let me explain it to you. Let me get the black one,
because that's more. It's a beautiful title.
So I'm gonna tell you why. All right.
Uh-huh.
So first, all 4 side plates being almost identical, minus the wrestling moves on the side. It has no depth or no character, nothing different that make me say, "Oh, that's nice." If you look at the undisputed, it's at least some variation, but these are the same shapes. It's just wrestlers doing different things. Like, there's no color; it's just there. It just feel like
now, Brandon, we gotta remember this belt was in 1987, not 1995 or 99, or I don't even know if they, if anybody in the comments was buying belts in the 80s. If they had, let me know if they had belts in the 80s. I'm see, this is where, because I was going to ask you if you could pull out your Intercontinental Championship.
But it's almost this, to me, we cookie cutter. Just give me some wrestlers doing something on the side with the same plates, right? Yeah. Same way across, right? Even with the, what I mean? It was, if that was the standard for the plates, okay, cool. But my problem
where's your NWA title?
Yes. so
do you,
let me,
because that would have been the rival.
You want me to get the NWA?
Yeah. He's gonna get the NWA, folks.
Because 10 pounds of gold, right?
Now we have to be clear, because I'm pretty sure that belt has evolved. You know,
it's so many different variations, different country flags. Give me 1 second. I'm going to grab the NWA.
All right, yeah.
10 pounds of gold.
So I'm gonna read the comments. The real Dwayne Allen says the Winged Eagle title is the title of my first part of my wrestling childhood. The post 80s new generation. Exactly. He said, get the NWA title. Let me see, making sure. Yeah, Man Cave Sports said they hope they bring back the Big Eagle. Lawrence Bennett, shout out to Lawrence. Maybe a first time watcher or first time commenter. Thank you for watching. Need that Winged Eagle. I like this comment. Shout out to Wootage 84, also a first timer. Big Eagle and Big Gold from WCW would work today.
He said Big Eagle and Big Gold.
Yeah, if those are the 2 titles.
But could you take the Big Eagle and give it to sports teams, or would you give them the Big Gold? Which one would you give to the sports teams?
That's a great question.
You see what I mean? Like, I think they would work, but because of marketing, the network logo works because you slap the side plates, or what do you do for, you know what I mean? Because
by definition, honestly, you give them the Big Gold, because if you think about it, that's what,
It's a champion. That's the champion.
It's a champion. It's wrestling. You can put their nameplate on there. You slap the WWE logo right there. You have you think about, like, so in 2011 when Aaron Rodgers and them won the Super Bowl, the Packers had the Big Gold at the Super Bowl. And that's and that's at a time where we're talking Del Rio, Edge was the champion at the time. So and shout out to Dr. D. Dr. D in the building says, why is Brandon hating on Reggie Park?
I'm not hating, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I know everybody's gonna think that. I'm not hating on Reggie Park. His designs were his designs. I feel like all right, I'm a child of the 80s, right?
Yeah, but you identify more with 90s wrestling.
Yeah, let's be real. More with 90s. So let me give you this. And this is my thought. I'm not hating on Reggie Parks. I feel like he's the same tone of, you hear a song by, Babyface wrote a song. Timbaland did something with a song. Ooh. I feel like you can always tell a Reggie Parks belt because it's what worked. It's the people needed at the time. It's exactly what was there. So I'm not debating Reggie Parks. I'm just saying.
I was thinking that the real that said Reggie Park and his protege Dave Milliken are just Jim Johnson's of wrestling title careers. That's where I honestly
Yes.
thought you was going when you said
Well, I
babyface.
didn't want to get that deep, but I'm glad Dwayne went that
I
deep.
thought you was gonna go there.
I was trying to, because that's what we needed. Like when you hear the glass break, you automatically gonna think of Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they just show lightning on the screen, you gonna think it's The Rock. You know, if you hear one gong, you gonna think. So in my mind, when I see the,
oh man, you cut out. So I'm assuming you was going to say in his mind when he see, oh man. All right, there you go. There? Yeah, you was about to say in your mind when you see.
In my mind, it always takes me to that place, but it's just I wasn't a fan of it because, and I'm gonna just break like it didn't scream out to me, oh my God, I want that belt. It wasn't my flavor of tea. But I know if I hear that glass break, I'm gonna jump on my seat, be like, oh, Stone Cold's about to come. But so when it comes to these Reggie Park belts, it's not that I'm hating; they just weren't my flavor. They're just not my cup of tea when it comes to it, because it was a little bit different to be desired. Like when you talk about, like you said about the 10 pounds of gold, right? Or as he's on it, Dr. D belt. So yes, they had flags.
Exactly.
They had flags on the side. And the flags were a good change, not only because of the color, but because it tells me this is a world championship without me seeing. And I think it was Ben Walker that said it kind of looked like a sloth. When you look at it, now that I said that, you probably can't unsee it.
Now, see, WWE did that with the Hogan belt, because the Andre belt has the flags on the side. I wish I had mine. I don't have it on me, but the Andre belt has the size. I remember you took a liking to that title when we discussed it in person several months ago.
And it reminds me, and like just like this is one of my favorite ROH belts. You know, I feel like this was one of, and look what's front and center.
Mm-hmm.
You know, need I say more? Look what's front and center. Look what's under. Like, to me, this said, without knowing anything, if I walked around with this, everyone like, oh, that's a world champion. So with me, when it comes to the Big Eagle versus Wing Eagle, it's not about the size of the belt. It's about what is on the belt, because the size really doesn't bother me, but the size bothers me because when you look at people like, let's say, Undertaker hold this, right? Why you got that little belt? But then somebody like Bret Hart, does it really fit him and Shawn Michaels, or it could have been a little bit bigger? What could have been a little different? Could have been the center plate been stretched out more? Like when they were this, did I have, without a shadow of a doubt, if he's standing next to the Intercontinental Champion, do I know which one is the lesser belt? Will I be able to tell that this is the top guy? Without a shadow of a doubt, you got to tell me that this is my world champion. When it comes to the Big Eagle, you just look at the Big Eagle and know that's the champion. Not because it's word champion across the bottom, because the globe is prominent. The Eagle, like you said, is just like outrageously, hey, right at you. But it's just the whole, and it kept elements. What I appreciate, it kept elements of it. Like it took the sidebars off of the Big Eagle and made it part of the belt. Like the sidebars, I think, are some of the best things. Hence why the real Dwayne Allen custom belt has sidebars, because I wanted to try to keep certain elements for them. But I keep showing the blue one because I think the blue looks better on camera because you have your black one. I just think that it has certain elements that just scream out at you. Like if you take this away, the champion part away, and let's just say it was nothing there, would you still think this was the world champion?
Yeah.
So
because the globe.
Yeah, even with the globe, and I'm not saying every belt gotta have a globe, but certain things for a world title have to stand out for me, for my liking. And I think I should be able to look at the belt and say that is the champion.
Now I understand what you're saying, but look right here. That was the thing for me as a child. You saying which one do I know is the superior belt? It says biggest day right there, world. And that right there is what helped me growing up. You know what I mean? And then the programming and conditioning.
So even if I didn't say Intercontinental on it, would you think that this was the world champion just from looking at it?
Well, programming and conditioning had me knowing that like this shape right here, I mean, it was like a bigger deal. With the wings hanging out, made it a bigger deal.
But look at it over the shoulder. Which one do you think is the champion?
Now I see what you're saying. I understand exactly. But I don't think they went that deep back in the day.
But I'm saying for me, that's why I always, because when you look at them side by side, I feel like, I've always gravitated to the Intercontinental, no matter what the design was.
Doc is the. I had a question earlier. I don't know if he was in the chat. Doc, were they selling championships in the late 80s, early 90s? He says because he remembers at a house show, WWE house show in 98 is where he held his first replica winged eagle, which at that time someone else had. Very rare those days before replicas became a thing. So that's when he marked out. So I wonder, did they have titles back in the day? And Brandon, to you being the guy, the belt collector, the guy who I go to whenever I have questions. If the Winged Eagle and the Intercontinental, the Reggie Parks editions, were your options, and they were the belts of record for, let's say, a little bit longer, do you think you would have became a belt collector? Or is it because belts evolved over time? Let's just say, because here's what I'm thinking, right? You look at the Jordan 1s, right? And they look like the way they look, you know? If you don't know nothing about shoes, you could think they Air Force 1s. Or over time, Jordan started to look different. They started to look better in some people's eyes, right? That's when people became sneakerheads. So, but for a lot of people, they love that retro look. They love that look. And I'm not a sneakerhead by any means. So my question to you is, do you think because of the evolution of belts, is that one of the reasons why you can honestly take it or leave it with the Winged Eagle?
No, because I think it was, and it wasn't necessarily the belt. It was who was defending it or who was the champion. That's what really got me, because every belt reminds me of a certain part in history. So, like you said, you took my moment with The Rock. I just remember him standing over top of him, especially when he flung the belt behind him. That was his thing. I love when Stone Cold came to the ring just currently like, I'm coming with this belt. Here I come. I'm about to tear some up. You know what I mean? And then you had the difference in Triple H. Sirius spit the water out, the belt around his waist, but it's covering so much of him. So I think it was if wrestling.
They was selling them in the 80s.
I thought they saw something. They saw good. I learned something new. I thought it was in the 90s when they started, but thank you for that tidbit. Now we got something else to add. But I think it was the wrestler who did it. Like, wrestling, of course, has evolved from 89, 99, 2009. It's always evolving. So I believe even though some belts didn't need to change because the wrestlers were making you focus on that. You know, so even as simple as adding a ladder match to an Intercontinental title, it made me pay attention more to the Intercontinental title. A Hell in a Cell match might make me pay attention more to the women's Raw Championship when it was defended in the title. I mean, in the cage. So everything is all about the wrestler has it. Because what I wanted to show you is, to your point with the Intercontinental, this beauty, at times, this felt like this was more important than the World Championship, didn't it?
It depends, yeah. Especially
because
on
it
a Saturday night.
Who was holding.
Yeah, because Sting would definitely drop back and, be in matches for the U.S. title.
So, and I always think, like, when it comes to the Big Eagle and the Wing Eagle, I have more memories for the Big Eagle, but I have more memories because
that's
not
what it is.
Wrestling involved, but because it was, I don't want to say more iconic, because Bret Hart had some great iconic matches with that belt. Even when they defended it, what Royal Rumble was it that they defended it in? Which one was that, Brian?
Wait, which belt?
When it was defended, the WWE Championship back in the day, who defended? Was it Flair won it? No, Flair won it.
Flair 92.
Was it okay? So 92. I just remember, like, those moments mattered, but I feel like it was more of my, like, that's why I asked you that question. If it wasn't a bias for you that growing up with it, because even when I take my bias out of it, I still feel like the world title was the Big Eagle. Like, I just still feel like, even when I sit back and look, because even with my favorite belt in the mix, I still probably say, yeah, the Big Eagle. Like, it just checks all the boxes. It just checks every box. So,
I mean, yeah, when you break it down like that, I like that, because I saw a couple people on the timeline say that the, they felt that the Winged Eagle was overrated I don't think it's overrated, but I don't think it needs to come back. I'm gonna be real with you.
Yeah, and
As much I love the Winged Eagle, great championship right here. It can stay in my childhood. I don't need to see Cody or Seth with it. It's not gonna look right on Roman Reigns. Like I said, to be honest with you, and I love the Big Eagle too. If they was to bring a belt back, it would be the undisputed championship that I would like to see back. And maybe for me, it's because it just didn't get a fair opportunity. When you look at the rest of the titles, that title was only around 4 years. I think only the Hogan 86 belt was around in less time. And Doc said the first time he discovered replicas was Figures Inc. introduced the big gold in Pro Wrestling Illustrated. At that time, there were only toy WWF belts like the Winged Eagle and the Big Green.
the big green, that one.
Yeah, imagine how hard it was to get replicas. This is Wootage 84. Imagine how hard it was to get replica belts in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Dwayne said he was, you brought up the United States Championship. He was in the mid 90s. He was obsessed with the title. DDP, Booker T, Bret Hart, etc. Says Big Green, which Hogan first won in the 80s and 90s. Belt collectors may have been available to those that ordered them for $500 to $1,000, and that was before it became what it is now. I don't like the Big Green.
It's a different era and it's a different feel. Just like I always think about bringing belts back because there has been some successful times that wrestling companies have brought belts back, and there's been some times that flopped in my mind, like when WWE brought back when Cody brought back the White Intercontinental. It was
you thought that flopped?
No,
okay.
It's a huge hit. That was a huge hit.
Yeah,
but then when
yeah.
TNA brought back the TNA Heavyweight Championship and Moose had it on the white strap, nobody cared. It was an afterthought.
Even look who was wearing it.
But remember, Kenny Omega won the title, and he had both of them. Christian held him, and Christian was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and put this back in retirement. Failed experiment. We're not going to do it." So
yeah.
Even with, and I don't know what the logic is, if somebody knows the logic when Tony Khan decided to revert back all the way to the original ROH belts, I just feel like it just didn't.
You don't think it was a licensing thing?
I don't know, but some of them. So if you notice, he kept the television title in a 6-man, but and the women's, but now he just changed the women's to silver. But I'm just saying, when you bring back a title, it can be a good thing or a bad thing, because look at the NWA belts. They pretty much brought back all of their belts, and they're decent. Like the NWA television title, even when the Pope was holding it and he turned it to a white strap, it made me say, "Oh, that's different." Because
you'll appreciate this. I just got a text from one of my boys. His son is playing with his Sonic and Tails toys. He says Sonic is Carmelo Hayes and Tails is Trick. If
that ain't the right analogy, I don't know what it is. That's perfect.
I had to share that with you. I knew you perfect. Would appreciate that.
That is.
Shout out to my boy Kahar, man. Shout out to Kahar.
That was perfect timing.
But yeah, Dwayne says you talk about the catalogs. In the middle of Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine changed his life as a kid. Same, man. I was trying to get belts though. I ain't gonna lie. Like this one, $199 back in the day.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was the $199 deal, and then like I think the WCW belts were $149, and you had to order them from that magazine, and then you would
There's your answer. ROH had copyright issues with their titles when Dave Millican found out they were selling replicas and didn't pay him any residuals.
Well, there you go. That's the answer. And they had some beautiful belts. ROH has some of the most beautiful belts, I think, in the industry. I don't think that they gave it a chance to breathe because of, like it was just been pointed out, they probably wasn't doing the right thing by people. I think they have had some of the best.
I'll tell you one thing I do not like is when independent wrestling companies take the Winged Eagle or the Big Eagle and scratch out the WWF and just throw their logo or put tape over it.
Let me
You
say
talk
this
about it.
about. Let me say this about some. I get it if you on a budget. You got some.
Yeah.
You trying to start a federation. I applaud you 100%. But sometimes you would be better off not having anything than doing that, because
Mm-hmm.
the real wrestling fans, you don't look as prestigious. And I feel bad for the wrestler fighting for, like, oh, now I got to promote this, because a lot of independent wrestlers are promoting their self within the company too. You're making them
Yep.
look bad by doing that, because now I'm
Mm-hmm.
sitting here like with a scratched out or just a piece of tape over and saying I'm the Brian Waters champion. Like, if you know your show is coming up in August, you got plenty of time to order a belt. If you know your first show is this day, it's plenty of makers that you can get a belt made. And you can say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, give me a custom one, as long as you don't get one of those world's greatest dads belts. But please stop using those, because I know it's done. But
Not
the time and energy you're going to pay for that, shucks, after one show, just buy a new belt or crown the champion the next belt. I'm not trying to tell bookers how to do things, but it makes the wrestler look bad. And then think about this. If they're promoting themselves, they show these
mm-hmm.
pictures on social media and they're shared. Oh, wow, he just took the WWE Wing Eagle and put BHW on there.
Mm.
So everybody knows what it is.
The,
But
the way you say you got a story about a belt story about, I'm pretty sure you'll have him on here. He'll tell the story about the Big Eagle. I know it very well. That's how long we've been friends. Doc says, I remember when Figures were selling, Figures Inc. was selling replicas 10 pounds of gold for $99, and he missed out.
oh,
Ooh,
that would have been perfect.
woo!
Oh, Lord.
But
Ooh.
yeah, man, the Big Eagle versus the Wing Eagle is it's something I've
It's a
been
debate.
waiting. Yeah,
It's a
I'm interested to see. Everybody drop in the chat. Oh, my bad, I'm taking over your show. My bad.
No, I'm getting my notes. That's why I didn't say nothing, because I had notes for it. So I'm glad that everybody's active in the chat. I don't mind talking belts. I love talking belts. I love
Mm-hmm.
just sharing my opinion about it. As long as y'all want to hear it, I'll
That's
keep
why
on
he got
doing
him behind him.
it.
Yes.
But I will tell you, my personal opinion, I prefer the Big Eagle.
Mm-hmm.
I gave the reasons why. I think Brian prefers both, but if he had to choose, I'm not going to force him to choose on this. I'm not going to
That's
force
like
him to
trying to tell
choose.
me to
That's
choose
like,
between my children, man.
yeah, that's what I was going to say, because he has good points for both. And I just want to go on record. I am not saying I do not like the Wing Eagle. That's like me saying I don't like belts. I just don't, it just didn't do it for me. And not because I'm a belt collector, because being a wrestling fan. And I'm gonna share another
But you said you like
unpopular
the
opinion.
white one though, right?
I do like the white one, because it
Yeah,
it
and
pops
sometimes
different.
that's what it is though, in all honesty. Sometimes
Like
it's a strap change.
yep. And it's one little thing can make a big difference, because to be honest with you, I have this belt in my collection because I'm a belt collector. There's no reason for me. I don't have any lineage attached to this. I probably couldn't tell you a lot of
Tell
history
them what
about
it
it.
is.
It's this is the NWA United States Championship. The lineage traces back to what the current United States title is. You can trace this. I'm sorry. You can trace this all the way back to that. And I have this belt for the story behind this is I found it at a really good price, and I felt like as a collector I have to have it. I have NWA television belts as well, but this is the United States one that was held by a couple different wrestlers. Best U.S. title ever. I figured he was like, but I have it because I'm a collector. If somebody said, "Oh, you gotta get rid of one of your belts," would I go to this one first? No, because I know it has a lineage tied to the current United States Championship. We could trace it all the way back to this belt. So when it comes to the Wing Eagle, the first one I brought it on a good deal. It's 2 millimeter in thickness. Is it the best belt ever? No. Was it a good belt at the time? Yeah, I needed to have it. So then when the white one came along, I was like, man, as I'm a bar a term from our brother Hash the Third, man, she's sexy. So I had to get it. And then the black one that I have, because I felt like, yeah, I might need to upgrade, because the 2 millimeter one is good from a distance, good for a showcase. But if I ever had to take a Wing Eagle out of the house for a show or something, I'm gonna grab that one. And plus, it has a belt tip on it. So I was
All
like, let me
right.
make sure I get that one. So if anybody knows, I love a belt tip on a belt. And the same thing, the Big Eagle was the second belt that I own. And thank you to April and her husband David for helping me secure that belt because they helped me. They gave me my first belt was my Intercontinental belt, and that was my second belt. And they helped me get that belt around my birthday. So I appreciate them for that. That was the second belt I own. And then I came across a good deal from a good friend of mine, Ben Walker, who will be joining us sooner than later on
Oh,
Championship
let's
Culture.
go.
So he will be joining us and came across it a really good deal. Yes, the strap is a little lighter, but I actually like it. It stands out, and it does have the WWF block logo on it. So it checked off a lot of boxes because that's one of those belts that I'm like, ooh, yeah, I need that one because it said WWF on it. And it's 4 millimeter thick, and you found it, haven't you, Brian?
Which one?
The blue one, the blue Big Eagle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty healthy. It's pretty heavy. I like that it got some weight to it, but it's not too much that I wouldn't want to take it out.
Brother Hugh.
He made a face. So, yep, that's my take on the Big Eagle Wing Eagle. I do have one last question for you, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, you gave us a moment for the Big Eagle. Give me a moment for the Wing Eagle. What's your moment that always takes you back?
Oh man, it's
If you
I gotta go. If I had to choose one moment, it's WrestleMania 10. Bret Hart regaining the championship, and here's why. The fact is, like, if him, nah, that was number 2. I was thinking him losing the title was the first time I felt heartbreak of champion losing the championship, but the first one is actually Macho Man. But when he regained, when Macho Man lost the title, that was the first time I experienced heartbreak of a title loss. Because I wasn't old enough to remember like when they, took it from Hogan or, but when Bret lost it, it was like that disappointment. But then it was instantly, I know this isn't a popular thing with anybody except probably me and Hulk Hogan. But from a 6-year-old, when you see your favorite wrestler come out there and rescue your other favorite wrestler, it was like the best thing in the world when Hogan saves the day at WrestleMania 9. But watching Bret chase, and then Yokozuna had the belt for so long, I wanted Luger to beat him. I wanted whoever they put in front of him, I wanted to beat him, and he was beating everybody. So when Bret finally got that belt back, that was like, yes, it was like the greatest Sunday to me this is WrestleMania 10. So at 8 years old, it's like the greatest Sunday to me. 7 years old, it's the greatest Sunday to me ever. So that's the moment when Bret is standing on Lex Luger and Razor Ramon's shoulders.
When they was holding them up and celebrating in the ring, right?
Yep.
So I'm gonna share this with you. I wonder, do you know what my moment is with the Big Eagle?
Jericho looking at it, walking out with Earl Hebner standing at the top of the apron.
That Monday Night Raw? Nope, that's not my top moment. It wasn't the Monday Night Raw. I knew you were gonna go to that one, even though that wasn't his.
I knew Dwayne was gonna say that one. I knew it because he made
that was actually gonna be. That right there, Dwayne, is my Big Eagle moment. Now, I'm sorry, my Wing Eagle. That's my Wing Eagle moment.
Of his top 5 episodes, he made sure when I edited, I had the right photo for the episode. Y'all go to
in the Iron Man match. That's my
with Bret with the glasses.
That's my Wing Eagle moment. But my Big Eagle moment is remember being a kid and you heard that, oh man, Mick Foley is winning it tonight.
Oh,
hearing that. So I'm the person. So let me give you a little content with it. If you give me the spoiler for a movie, I'm going to want to watch it more because I want to know how did we get there.
Just like
so I remember
Jeff
hearing
Hardy
that
winning the Intercontinental Championship for me. You don't remember that?
We talking about Big Eagles. We talking about Big
Eagles. Spoilers in 2001. You was like,
Brian, we talking about Big Eagles. We talking about Big Eagles. So
I wasn't mad though. I wasn't mad, but it was just funny.
I remember hearing that, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta stay up. I gotta watch Monday Night Raw. Oh, he's winning. He's winning."
So you remember January 4th 1999, you was watching WCW.
No, I heard about it.
Wait, so how'd you hear about it?
My grandmother.
Look, allow me to get my Conrad Thompson, my Stone Cold on.
So my grandmother said it. She said, "Oh man, Mankind is going to win it tonight." I was like, "Oh, we got to watch. Turn it on. We got to watch Raw."
So grandma's watching WCW.
Yes.
And you sitting there, she says it.
No, I'm coming down. She called me to tell me. I'm in my room and I come upstairs because I was in the bed. I was like, huh? She was like, yeah, Mankind is gonna win. I said, oh, we gotta watch Raw. We gotta watch Raw. And I remember being amped up because I'm like, he's gonna win. And not to say that I didn't expect it. It was like Mick Foley was that feel-good person. But I remember when he pinned him and how he was holding the belt, it was sheer joy. Even though it had been spoiled, I remember on that 3 count, and I'm like, oh, the place erupted. We get up scared. I'm like, oh my God, I've only felt that one other time in wrestling, and that was with Kofi. And it was just sheer joy. It was like, oh my God.
We was all together for that one.
Yeah, it was just right. It just felt right when Mick Foley won. And that was the biggie because then didn't he say like, yeah, Mrs. Foley's baby boy? Isn't that what he said? Or did that come afterwards?
No, so JR said that. I mean, Michael Cole said that. He's like, King, he ate worms as a child, and now he's the WWF champion. And he said, at the risk of not sounding cool, I want to say something to 2 little people at home. Big Daddy-O did it.
Yeah, but when did he start saying Mrs. Foley baby boy? When did he start saying that?
JR was saying that. I feel like JR had already coined that phrase before him.
Okay. But I remember, and I felt like he did it. Because it was such a feel-good moment. Stone Cold moment. Oh, I forgot about, but that was different. You know what I mean? Like it was the hero getting beat, but this was the triumph of I did it. Look at me. I will never. You can't look at me and say I'll ever be a champion because I'm always going to be this level of wrestler.
Didn't they have the blue one? Didn't Kane, or he just took photos in the blue one?
I think he took photos in the blue one because I'm pretty sure his was the black one, wasn't it?
Okay. Yeah, I remember. If you remember, at after Breakdown, they had the Winged Eagle in the ring when they was going to do the presentation.
Yep.
That was like the last time
it was ever seen.
I was like, why did I remember thinking like, oh, okay, like did they run out of Big Eagles or something?
Like what happened? Did they forget that this is what we were doing tonight? But I'm just saying, like that Iron Man match, because I remember just it. I lost my breath. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, they're going down. Wow. And it was like that moment for Mick was a defining moment as a wrestling fan. It made me believe that at that point, any wrestler that worked hard enough, in my mind, would be champion.
Gotcha.
Or could be champion. And to me, if he never was champion ever again, I was okay because it was. And then they tried with the Jericho thing. Yes, that was cool that he won it and kept it for like 26 seconds on Monday Night Raw. Then he had to revert back.
Couple segments.
Yeah, it was cool, but it wasn't that Mick Foley moment. And I'm a Jerichoholic. And even when he beat Stone Cold for it didn't have that same. I think if he hadn't won the WCW World Title weeks before, that dropped it back to the Rock, it probably would have had a bigger impact on me.
Got you.
But
go ahead.
If you really think about the WWE at the time, Vince had nobody else to really put it on.
What else? Which one?
The Undisputed, when he was saying it was going to be one champion for. Yeah, if you think about it, it was an opportunity to make Jericho, and was it a failed project? I don't think his dance partner was the right dance partner for him at the time.
That's a whole conversation. Real quick. Wootage 84 says Taker winning the title at WrestleMania 13, pointing to the crowd while holding the title in one hand in the air with the other, pointing to the crowd and then holding the title in the air at the end. I know exactly, like I can see the moment.
That moment, I can see that when he was like this.
Because it had been it was the 97. So it'd been 6 years since he had been champion. And
was it that long in between?
Yeah, because he only had it the Tuesday night in Texas. Which, if you ever get a chance to go to like his Undertaker talks, he talks about that moment when he
was
won
6
it from
years.
Hogan. 91 to 97. It was almost 6 years because it wasn't a full 6 years yet.
It was close to okay. That
Yeah,
makes sense
but
now when you put it in perspective like that. I
yeah,
guess
because
it
we're talking
is.
Survivor Series 91, all the way to WrestleMania, which is in 97, WrestleMania 13.
Okay. I knew you
But
wouldn't look. I know you got that memory.
well, I know we gotta get out of here soon, but to your Mick Foley moment, real quick, that's one of the few moments in wrestling where you can know what's going to happen and you'll still get chills, even if you've seen it before, you see it a million times. It's definitely a moment. You know, we was it's well, let's just say go whatever. It's supposed to be no, it's not like bad, but obvious. It's obvious, like duh, but it's on the slate for Book of Wrestling, right? So
Mhm.
like I had already started doing like the prep work, so I've been watching it, and I'm like, yo, I can't wait to get to this episode. Just a
So
break.
remember they said it on, and I remember my girl told me, and then I heard it later. It was like, yeah, all you gonna do is see that Mick Foley gonna win the world title, and I was like, they really said that on WCW,
I
like
wish I'd have been watching.
he had
I
said it
ain't
like
have
it was
cable at the
nothing.
time.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the thing is, if my grandmother didn't tell me, I wouldn't know because that's who my wrestling partner was. That was my introduction to wrestling. And don't get me wrong, she was a advocate for WCW. You
Yeah, I
couldn't
remember
tell
you
her
told me.
nothing. They couldn't do nothing bad in WCW or her mind. She loved
Even in
wrestling.
'99, right?
She loved when I listen to me. She loved WCW. But I think
Because
it was. Oh, go ahead.
no,
No,
I
I
was
was
gonna
saying
say
like
around
look
time
at
we met, WCW was still around. Like it was at the very end, obviously,
it.
but it was still around.
But I think that she was a big Razor Ramon fan. So I think
Mm,
well, I'll take it back. She was a big NWA, AWA, all of those independent one. Like she liked that style of wrestling, and then WCW kind of like the spiritual animal to that because of the Ric Flairs and all that was there. But then she followed Razor Ramon so much because I remember her raving about the ladder match. And it was like
mhm.
she thought that was the best ladder match ever. No one ladder match could do anything differently. Scott Hall was just the it factor for her. So I think that helped fuel her to continue with WCW. Not only that, she loved Ric Flair too, but Sting. Those was like her
Yeah.
ones that she loved her some WCW. So,
Mhm.
but that's another story for another time. But
Yeah,
I
man.
think we debated it enough for the people that they know one how I feel about the Big Eagle and the Wing
Mhm.
Eagle. And it's not that I think the Big Eagle is the better belt; it just means more to me.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I'm gonna go on record and say that Big Eagle means more to me. And what Brian Waters feel about both of them, there really isn't a better belt. It's all about your flavor of belts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it always is, man. I
Yeah.
definitely appreciate you having me on here. This was good. This is a good, fun discussion. I definitely hope people got a chance to really enjoy it. And
I love the
seem like
comments. Thank you, everybody in the comments. Keep them coming. We'll keep on checking them or follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Keep your comments coming. If it's something that you want to talk about, something you got a question about, or something if I misspoke, you need to clarify me, please fact check me. So always, I appreciate it. Subscribe, and if you're free tomorrow night, about 10:30 tomorrow night, oh yeah, it's gonna be a party tomorrow. Don't forget, you got $20 off if you purchase any tickets through SeatGeek using the code Wrestling Realm. But gotta spend $50 or more, which is nothing. Going price for a ticket is probably about $60. So $60 or $20 off, you're good. Um, as Brian got on that Wrestling Realm shirt, don't forget we do have merch available. Different colors, different flavors, different styles. Hey, you can get whatever you want on the Wrestling Realm shirt, any color. Did you know that? Did you know that, Brian?
Yep.
You can get that shirt right there in purple or green if you wanted to.
Well, actually, this was just black and white.
Oh, so you ruined it for the people. I was
Yeah.
trying to get them to go there to try to get
Uh,
a different color shirt. It don't.
well, the Proud Wrestling fan got flavors.
Yeah, and that was a good one. If you get a Proud Wrestling fan shirt, get whatever color you like. Pink, get it in pink. You want to
Yeah.
get it in orange, get it in orange. It's pretty colors. Check it out, the Wrestling Realm. Please check us out.
Yeah.
Next show is tomorrow. It's going to
Yeah.
be. I don't know if I'm going to AEW. Let me plug this real quick. Got a special guest from the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. Stephanie Hardy will be there for our party. We had a party last week with Dr. D. This week will be Stephanie Hardy. Can't wait for her to join in the shenanigans. She got a flavor of it before. I hope she's ready for this time. Dr. D, I don't think anybody's going to AEW. I don't think so. I didn't get a ticket. Unless you got a ticket for me, I don't think I'm going. And
I got work. I got fan club at 7, and then I got this at 10:30. So AEW can wait. I'll watch it on television. Dr. D for sure AEW, give us the update.
Yeah, I want them to do. I want the best for them. I want to be able to be a cheerleader for AEW. I just feel like I'm just sitting on the sides, like, come on, give me something to cheer for. But that's just my personal opinion. But I know they can do better. They've shown they can do better. I just want them to do better. So
there you go.
So don't forget, tomorrow, 10:30, it's going to be a party. All right. Brian, any last thoughts?
No, man. Just thank you. Y'all know where to follow me at Brian H. Waters on all social media platforms. Stay tuned. Just follow my Twitter updates, and everything is right there.
And if you join us tomorrow, you'll get a preview.
You're not down with that.
If you join the Wrestling Realm Now podcast tomorrow, you'll get a preview about the next episode of Championship Culture, which will be an educational one. It's going to dive deep into something for you that'll be good for you. Trust me, you don't want to miss that one. Check us out tomorrow so you can see what the next show will be about. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes!